Hey guys, Colorado Dave, back at you again. Just did this video in front of you, so this might look familiar. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to take these top 10 knives that I have left out of my collection, which was the last video I just did. I'm going to call this part 2, and I'm going to try to take this down to 5 knives. Now, when I say I take this down, guys, that doesn't mean tomorrow I pull the knives back out and I own them again. We're talking about selling these off. I sold off 2/3 of my collection over the last 2 weeks. So I've sold about 20 of my knives off. I'm down to about 10 or 11, I think, knives total. I don't have my Medford out right now. Smooth Criminal, I think, is the only one that I'm missing. And then I have a couple real low end, like below $50 type knives. I have a couple of those still that are decent little knives, but I do have a couple of those. But bottom line, what I'm trying to do here is take my top 10 knives, and I'm going to try to get this down to 5. How hard is that going to be? Very hard. I will tell you, out of all the knives I had, I wouldn't say that these were my favorite top 10. I would say most of them are. I would say a couple of them I sold because I really needed the money and I really liked them. I made a decision more because I could make more money on them. But I would also say that 80% of what you're looking at here are my favorite knives. One that got away that's going to probably hurt someday is I had a Hinder half track Warren Cliff version that I really liked that I gave up. That was tough. I had a Satori 2.0 that was anodized. That was custom anodized. That was gorgeous. I gave that up. I gave up some good knives, guys. I gave up some really nice knives. I loved my ZT collection. Out of my ZTs, this is the only one I still have left, which is the 0562 Ti, which is the full titanium version. Great knife, but I gave up a beautiful specimen of a 0456, which, if you guys are familiar with that one, that's the Dmitry Sinkovich design. Very hard to give that up, but it was either that or this, because I was only going to keep one ZT, and this one made the cut, and no regrets whatsoever. I had an RJ Martin that was a ZT. I had a another Rick Hinder that was the one that was kind of like the Eclipse. What am I trying to say? That was the 0393. Gave that up. I had an 0450 that was custom anodized. Got rid of that and sold it. So gave up some really nice ZTs, guys. Some really nice ZTs. The 0308 with the tiger stripe. I had a serial number of 0038. So it was the 38th one made. So anyway, you can tell my heart is like just falling out because of what I've done, but I've also feel really good about it because I know it's the right thing to do right now. And let's move forward. So out of that, how am I going to take this down to 5 knives? I'm going to do this fairly quickly. I try not to drag it out too much because there's a couple easy decisions and then there's a couple harder ones. Easy for me is this one's still in the running, and the reason it's in the running is just because I had the price kind of high on it. I am going to lower it and get rid of it because I just don't use it, and it's brand new out of the box. So I'm going to lower my price on it, make it sellable, and that probably won't be around anymore. So we will say goodbye to the Spyderco Ikuchi. Let's keep moving forward here. What else am I willing to give up? I am willing to give this up. I really like the knife, and if I end up with it and I don't sell it because I don't get a price that's somewhat reasonable for it, I have no problem keeping it because it is a great user. I use it for camping. I use it for just about anything. I'm not afraid to pull it out and use it. It's got the M4 steel, so it can obviously take some abuse. I would say I'm going to pull this one out too. And I'm pulling it out because I don't have to have it, but if I have it, I'm okay with that. But let's go ahead because I got to streamline this thing fairly quickly and try to make this smaller and bring it down a little bit more. Another knife, I love it for sheer fact that it was my first, and that is going to be my PM2, but I just don't carry it a lot. I use it more for comparisons than anything. As far as actually carrying this knife, I carried it a lot when I first got it, so it definitely has some use. But now, with the other knives that I have sitting here in front of me, I really just don't carry it. So this is another one I would be willing to let go of, believe it or not, even though it does have a lot of, nostalgia to it. That's taking me down to how many? What am I at, guys? I'm at 7. See, I'm doing pretty good. I'm not doing too bad, but this is getting really hard. So the question now becomes, if I really want to raise some money and come up with some more money, this is probably the right knife for me to get rid of. as much as I love the Spyderco, and I do love the Spyderco, it's my favorite that I've ever owned. The action is just gorgeous. The milling is gorgeous. The feel in the hand and the ergos is phenomenal. If I do give this up, I will get another one at some point. There's no question in my mind. But am I using it regular? No, because I safe clean it because of the fact that it's so beautiful. Some of these other knives I'm not afraid to use, and that's important because I want to be able to use my knives. So as much as I want to keep it here, I think this knife has to go away. And it has to go away because I can get the most money for it, probably, out of the ones that I have on the table that I'm willing to give up. So I gave that away a little bit. Now I'm down to 6 knives, guys. 6 knives. What would you do out of these 6 knives? What would you keep? This is tough because there's, I could give one of these Sebenzas up, and again, it would definitely bring some money to the table. I have sold a lot of my knives, so I have the support of my family on keeping the rest of these. But from my wife, I should say. And I am making a decision that I want to possibly keep both of those. So in doing so, I'm going to have to give up something else that's pretty special. So where do I go with this from here? Wow. Again, I think it makes me go to this knife because I think I can sell it for a little bit of money because it is in such good shape, because it is an exclusive with Blade HQ. It may bring some value money-wise. That brings me down to my final 5 knives. Am I happy with the decision? Am I looking at this saying I made any mistakes here and I need to rethink this? You know what? These are the 5. Absolutely, these are the 5. Why? This is my hard, heavy duty. If there's one knife left for me for the rest of my life and I only get one knife, it's going to be this one. It's going to be this one because it has so much multi-purpose. It has so much strength to it. It's so simplistic to take apart and break down that you're probably not going to have any issues with this knife forever. And it's just a working knife, which is what you want. Not afraid to use it. Have used it. Will use it. That's probably at the top of my list. That's probably why it's at the top of this list. These aren't really in an order, but looking at them, that's what I would say would be my number one knife. If it came down to it and I could only have one knife for the rest of my life, it would probably be that. This would be number 2. Absolutely, this would be number 2. Same type of reason. This knife can do everything. It can be a slicer. It can be, you could chop a tree down if you had to, a little mini tiny tree if you had to. I mean, it's got that much strength to it. Just really, really like the knife. It'll keep me from getting bored on any abandoned island too, because it's just fidgety as hell. So that makes it fun. Action's great. I've never had anything as far as issues with this knife at all. So I'm not overly concerned with something going wrong with it. It is on bearings, so that would make me just a touch more concerned, again, if we're talking about a knife lasting forever. But between the two of these, I'm doing just fine. I have no issues. Out of my ZTs, that's my favorite ZT. That was a very hard decision because I have 2 or 3 ZTs that I just love. I love the other Rick Hinder, the 0393. I love the 0456, the Dmitry Sinkovich. I love them all. I love the 0450. That one's a little bit small for me, so it was a little bit easier to give up. Anyway, going down to these Spydercos now. Again, I narrowed this down from quite a few Spydercos, as you know, including the Drunken that we just got rid of. This Kapara is just that much of a practical knife that it just seems like it should be in your pocket. If you only got one knife or 2 knives, if that's all you got, this better be one of them because you can use it for pretty much everything. I wouldn't be chopping trees and stuff with it, but anything culinary, prep-wise, slicing, dicing, all that type of stuff it's great for. Paper, cardboard, whatever. I wouldn't ties, plastic, all that. I wouldn't necessarily, again, go chopping trees down with it, though, because the blade's on the thinner side. But I like that slicey blade. This Maximint, what can I say? Phenomenal steel. This knife's just so much fun. As far as an everyday EDC, this was my number 1 carry last year. So how could I not bring this knife and keep this knife on board? Just love it. Can't say enough about that. This one, I'm still on the honeymoon. I'm still figuring it out because for me, this is a small knife. Most of my knives are bigger that I like. But on the other hand, I can get all 4 fingers on this, and it feels awesome. And guess what? It feels just like this knife. And guess what? This is legal in downtown Denver. This is legal in the suburbs of Chicago, which makes it very important to me because those are 2 markets that I visit. This knife could very well be with me forever. Love it. Just love it. It does have the S45 VN steel. And guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we made it, guys. The one knife I do not have in this mix is my Medford Smooth Criminal button lock. And I don't think it was going to make the list. It would have gotten really, really close. I would say it's number 6. And the reason is because of the proprietary tools that you need. That if something went wrong with it, and I was on an island, or I was in a situation where, I only had a couple knives and that was one of them, I could possibly not be able to use it because I couldn't take it apart, so that could become an issue. So that's my thinking with that. So in that breath, yeah, these are 5 of the best knives that I think are out there in the marketplace that you could own if you were to take your collection down to a reasonable size. And I could be happy for the rest of my life with these 5 knives, no question about it. And I'll probably have most of these knives for the rest of my life because they are awesome. Anyway, guys, hopefully you got something out of that. You had some fun with it. I had some fun doing it with you guys. Please give me some comments. What are your top 5? What are the ones that, if you really were to, sell your collection off, what do you think you'd end up with and why? Because it's not always about being your 5 favorite or the 5 most expensive. It's about what makes the most sense and why. That's what I got. Just something to think about. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. If you wouldn't mind, please subscribe. I'm trying to build this channel. I could really use your help.